Oh, Solway. Welcome to the 2013 Hundy Challenge. Today we're going to be discussing I, Robot by Robert Downey Jr. Dee-doo-dee-doo-doo, dee-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo, dee-doo-dee-doo-doo, dee-doo-dee-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Holy shit, was this a good book. I am so glad that I read this, or, to be more accurate, listened to it. Derek Jacobi did the voice recording. I'm not sure offhand what I recognize him from. I feel like he was in Gladiator or something, but he was just incredible. You remember I was complaining in Brideshead Revisited about all the ridiculous accents? Derek Jacobi did every voice just a little bit different. So you knew who was talking, but without all the stupid accents all the time. Reading this or listening to this, whatever, was like a breath of fresh air in this challenge, because almost every book, has been in like domestic England or the Midtown America. Like the most exotic I have gotten so far in this place was like colonial India or colonial Africa from the perspective of the colonialists. So finally, and I know these are all English language novels, so there's not a whole lot you can do about it. But finally, here's a book that's not in the 20th century, that's not set in, boring English-speaking, Anglophone land. It's set in Rome, and the Rome of Augustus, when people still remember Julius Caesar. They're still looking forward to the new emperors. They don't know what's going to happen. It's all brand new and everything. And Claudius he's a royal, so to speak, It was almost like they were still developing the whole idea of Rome and, the Roman Empire and, the emperors and the royalty and this and that. So he was of the correct family, but he was horribly crippled physically, and people think mentally, but actually it's all a ruse. He meets this one teacher, and the teacher tells him, play up your lisp. He's like, if there's one way you'll survive, because what's happening is Claudius's grandmother is just poisoning people left and right. Like every time she gets a spare minute, she gets bored and she poisons like 10 people, and she's like, oh, there's a new heir to the throne. Whatever. For Claudius himself, he meets this teacher who says, if I was you and I wanted to live, you have the best advantage in the world, because all you have to do is play up your lisp. Play up that you're an idiot. Everyone calls him Claudius the idiot because they think he's got some kind of mental issue. Limp far more than you actually need to, and just develop your intellect and that sort of thing. We're brought in with Claudius, and he talks about his genealogy. And you know how, like, in the Bible, sorry to jump on the Bible or whatever, but it's the same with every other story. When you go into the genealogy, and this guy begat that guy, and this guy, it's usually boring as shit. Claudius talks about his genealogy. It's almost more interesting than the rest of the book, because he's talking about, and my uncle was married to my other uncle's cousin, and you would think, and now I apologize if it's super complicated when you at home are reading it, and I'm not like a super big Roman history buff. Like, I sort of have an idea about what was going on, but I didn't have any trouble following it at all. It might have been Derek Jacobi, it might have been, Robert Graves who wrote it, but I didn't have that much trouble following this complicated-ass genealogy he's talking about. How, his uncle and his father and this and that, and his brother Posthumus. And what it really did was it really breathed, like, fresh life into the ancient Roman, milieu for you. So he talks about his genealogy. Then we kind of step in, if I may use a Latin term, in medias res, with the reign of Augustus, the first emperor. And it kind of talks about how, as Claudius's grandmother is going batshit on everybody all the time, everybody is just dying all around him. But because he plays up his lisp and he plays up his limp and everything else, he's always Claudius the idiot to all of his family. He survives and he goes on. And, Augustus he's a decent ruler. There's a reason why he was the emperor. But he's succeeded by Tiberius, who's a little bit diminishing returns, not very interesting. Then Tiberius is succeeded by Caligula, who we still know today mostly by the 70s porno, that was about him. But this guy is just batshit. He just, he claims he's a god. And this is where Claudius really starts to shine, is under the rule of Caligula, because he's practiced all his life at being Claudius the idiot, Claudius the insignificant. Nobody notices me. Nobody points me out. And so under Caligula, all he has to do is be like, every time that Caligula threatens to have him beheaded, which it seems to be like a daily occurrence, Claudius is just like on the fucking ball with some way to get out of it. And finally, it ends... spoiler alert, 2,000 years later, like always. Finally, it ends with Caligula's closest friends and allies, because he's just so batshit crazy, killing him. And they're like, well, we need a new emperor so the empire doesn't fall apart. Hey, how about you, Claudius? You're just chilling, right? Boy, what a great fucking book. I cannot recommend this enough. This was like a breath of fresh air. This is... So far in this challenge, this is right up there with, the best of the best. On the Road, Catch-22, whole-throatedly, 100%. Get this book, read it if you haven't. If I wasn't in the middle of this challenge, I would go right on to the sequel, Claudius the God. Thanks for tuning in. Next time, I think we're talking about Wide Sargasso Sea? No, we'll be talking about an American Tragedy by Theodore Dreiser. Thanks for tuning in.